So, which is better for writers? Mechanical keyboards or the kind of laptop chiclet ones? Well, you start with which is which. This is a chiclet keyboard and this is a mechanical keyboard. Actually, that might be all you need to know to learn which is right for you. Hello, I'm William Gallagher and this is 58 Keys, which, as ever, as always, is for writers like you and me who use Macs and iPhones and iPads. This time, actually, it's about using any or all of those, and it's about keys. Specifically, keyboards that are made for writers or aren't. Do subscribe if you are a writer, because we've got keyboards to discuss, we've got writing apps, we've got services, devices, we've got everything. I did just say that you may now have already learned, or even just heard, all you need to know about these two different types of keyboard. You know there's 1,000 variations on both, but let's have a quick reconstruction. A gigantic difference of mechanical keyboards, in fact so gigantic that it is a major selling point, is that they are loud. You know when you're typing on one, and so does everyone in a 5-mile radius around you. If you're going to be working alongside other people, they'd better enjoy the sound of typing, which I do. Actually, I love that sound. Mechanical keyboards make that noise because they are a series of individual keycaps pressing down on individual key mechanisms for registering the presses. They are keys with springs and bits that hit each other. Chiclet keyboards tend to have a kind of membrane where you're pressing on a key, squeezes it together, presses a bit of the membrane together and makes an electrical connection for a second. One membrane across the whole keyboard underneath the keys, and as you press gently together it makes that connection. The advantage is that chiclet keyboards are thinner than mechanical ones, usually much thinner. So you get companies like Apple that are usually obsessed with making computers slimmer and slimmer. They want chiclet, sometimes even at the cost of whether that keyboard is any good or not. For several years, Apple pushed a type of chiclet keyboard they called a butterfly one, and I don't think it was as bad as everyone says, but it certainly was bad if you got one of the ones that broke. They've all gone now. Butterfly is gone, replaced by a better keyboard, but still a form of chiclet ones. In fact, Apple only sells these chiclet keyboards, whether they're built into MacBooks or whether they come with iMacs. You cannot buy a Mac of any kind with a mechanical keyboard from Apple. You can, though, buy approximately 100 million thousand different mechanical keyboards from just about everywhere else. This is what you need to think about with mechanical keyboards. The sound. Seriously, selling point. So is the feel, actually, the gorgeous feel as you press proper keys. But mechanical keyboards, they are all loud and there's no getting away from that, except that there is a bit. I said that this thing is this keycap pressing down on the key mechanism. The mechanism is called a switch, and you can get different types of keyboard switches, and they do sound different. I suppose the actual sound is pretty much the same. It's plastic against plastic, but it varies. It varies partly by manufacturer, but also mechanical keyboards, they are sold in different types. There's at least 3 or 4 specific forms. They tend to be called cherry keys after the main manufacturer who supplies pretty much every keyboard company with these switches. And cherry itself chiefly makes what they call blue, red and brown switches. Blue is the loudest, and it also has a more specific feel, a definite typewriter-like crunchy feel as you press the keys down. Blue also typically has a certain extra click to it. On the opposite end, red is the quietest. Still louder than a chiclet keyboard, but it's quieter than blue, and it also feels smooth. It takes less effort to press. And then brown is halfway between those two. There are others though. There are other variants. The most common of the rest is called black, cherry black. It's like red, but it feels heavier to type on. And that feel is so important. Mechanical keyboards, they all tend to feel more precise. You know when you've pressed a key on a mechanical keyboard. And actually, that's one of the reasons why gamers tend to prefer mechanical keyboards. Although, to be fair, if you are a gamer, you're probably not using a Mac. I've got to stop calling them chiclet keyboards. The correct term, a correct term for them, is typically that they're called scissor keyboards, and that's because the mechanism underneath the keys is formed from two pieces of plastic. They're connected like they're two parts of a scissor, and as you press down, it kind of levers them together. And then together they press onto the membrane and make that electrical connection. This nickname chiclet comes from some kind of American sweet. I mean, it was a sweet as in confectionery that was apparently called that and looked a bit like one of the keys on this type of keyboard. I like the name though, because it sounds a bit like chiclet to me. I mean, frankly, a derogatory term for a genre of novel that I think is underrated, underappreciated. Anyway, chiclet key, scissor mechanism membrane, it's thin and it's quiet. Barely any moving parts, and certainly none that clack against each other. None that need a lot of pressure from you. As I keep saying, that sound, that feel could be all you need to know. The sound alone may make the difference for you, or if you work around many other people. Oh, grief. Sorry, just saying that to you. I remember, how long ago is this? I remember working in an office once. Someone said, if you keep typing that loudly, William, we will stop being friends. I was very young, very unsure of myself. Not 100% sure, I'm more sure now. But I do remember, actually, I remember relish feeling this. I shrugged at her like I was saying so. And she got the meaning. And yeah, that was because A, we weren't friends anyway. She's one of the few people I've ever worked with that I just really didn't like. But then, you know, the second thing is I was typing on a keyboard made by the company we were working for. Everybody got computers, long gone now. But it was their keyboard in their office and they were paying our wages. I'm not 100% sure what she thought I could possibly do about making those keyboards quieter. Anyway, sorry, that was, what's her name? I can't have thought of her or that in decades. What were we saying? Yeah, right, noise, sound, chiclet keyboards, right. Chiclet keyboards, they don't have the same travel, the distance that each key has to move downwards before it registers as a type, before you type that letter. This travel is crucial to the feel and the accuracy of your typing. Think of when you type on the glass of an iPad or an iPhone. They have exactly zero travel, and consequently they are harder to type on. You don't know that you've hit the right place. You can do it, and I do it, you do it, but an actual proper keyboard is always better for us as writers. I think this business of travel means that chiclet keyboards, they're actually more varied than mechanical ones. I know that means they're harder to quantify, harder for me to tell you that this one feels like it has better travel than that. I mean, I can try, but it's nowhere near as precise as even that business of the blue, red and black switches and their sounds, which does mean it's harder to find a chiclet keyboard that is right for you because you have to keep trying them. On the other hand though, unless you buy a Mac Mini, which comes with no keyboard at all, you are going to get a chiclet keyboard regardless of what Mac you ever buy. And if you want to buy a keyboard case for your iPad, say, that's going to be chiclet. So your choice may already have been made for you, and that may be fine. Get the keyboard that comes with the machine, and if you like it, job done. If you don't, try out different keyboards to see what feel suits you. That's easy for me to say. It's harder for us to do because these days we can't readily go around just borrowing 5 minutes on other people's keyboards. You can go into Apple stores and try theirs, I suppose. They're all chiclets. There is also this though. Chiclet keyboards tend to be cheaper than mechanicals. I mean, sometimes extraordinarily cheaper. You can spend a lot on either type, but you can also get chiclet ones for under a tenner, sometimes under £5 if you really try. It's not going to be that great, but it'll be okay. and it may not last that long, but it lasts a while, and it's small enough, cheap enough to throw in your bag or your pocket and use on your iPhone. I do want to tell you what I use, actually, but first let me try to cover all of the pricing in one go. All of it, for all keyboards. Yeah, we can do this. Yeah, no, this isn't going to be the most precise I can be with you, and I'm not sure I'm always that precise. The range of keyboard prices is just too enormous, so let me just try giving you 4 examples, 2 mechanicals and 2 chiclets. And if they're not exactly the broadest range of the market, they are all ones that I use and that I like. And this is the Visslis V1. It costs $89. It's great fun to type on. I was reviewing this for appleinsider.com and I typed on it for a couple of weeks, practically smiling all the time, actually. But remember I said chiclet keyboards were thin? The implication, I think, was pretty obvious that mechanical keyboards are not. But in fact, they can be very not. This one stands really high off the desk. I had to hold my hands up really in order to type on it properly. So I prefer, and I more often recommend, this one. This is the Keychron K3, costs $84. Actually, just go to keychron.com. It's got a huge range of keyboards and they're all very good, all very well reviewed. I just can't 100% see the difference between each of them. This one, it's quieter than this one, and that did oddly seem less fun, but it was also easier to use for extended periods. I used it for about a month, I think, and especially so because of this. Where is it now? Let me show you. This is a little extended palm rest the company sells separately for $25, and with that in place, leaning against it, my hands were at the right height for the keys. There is this though. I can't remember what it was I was writing on when I was using this, but it got serious. You know, deadline moved up, the writing got more complicated, something like that. I found myself pushing this mechanical keyboard to one side and pulling out this chiclet one instead. It was like, no, I have to get on with serious writing now, and I automatically, unthinkingly reached for this. This is the Apple Magic Keyboard. It's actually the extended version with a numeric keypad, and it costs £129 or dollars. There is a non-extended one, no numeric keypad, for £99 or dollars. That's more than these mechanical ones, but these are also the keyboards that are included with most desktop Macs, so you may get one of these free. I mean, yeah, ish. Last, I did say that chiclet keyboards were great for throwing in your bag and typing on your iPhone and also your iPad and also your Mac, but traveling and typing, well, they can be great for these, but right now, when I'm traveling, I don't use one of those. I tend to use one of these. Actually, I use this even if I'm writing on my iPad in my living room. It's the Microsoft Universal Folding Keyboard, and I am surprised to say that at the moment it costs around £100. I'm sure it used to be less, but I don't know. Just as I was using these 2 mechanical keyboards because they were sent to me for review, I first used one of these folding keyboards in exactly the same way. It was sent to me from Microsoft for free on a loan while I was reviewing it, and when the time came to send it back, I missed it so much that my wife bought me one for Christmas that year. I use it when traveling because it folds, but also has surprisingly deep travel to the keys. The Apple Magic Keyboard has more of a travel, although nowhere near as much as any mechanical keyboard. And I do love that clacking sound, but I like the speed and the feel of this. I like the sound partly because I learnt on an actual typewriter. So I used looking back. It's just you and me, isn't it? Yeah, you'll get this, you're a writer. I used to take a portable typewriter with me on holidays. Still can't fathom how I ever got married or why she would eventually buy me a keyboard. Oh, now I get it. It was a quieter keyboard. Anyway, that business of taking typewriters on holidays, obviously it was back when there were typewriters, where it was typewriters or handwriting, so, no contest. Now you can type on anything from a computer to a phone. And it's not the device that makes the difference, really, not anymore. You can buy a mechanical keyboard that connects over Bluetooth to your phone. I mean, in fact, actually right now I think it would be pretty difficult to find a mechanical keyboard that, or chiclet one, that doesn't connect to your phone. But are you going to be writing on your phone, on your iPad, on your Mac, alone in your office? Or are you ever going to go to coffee shops? These days, I think coffee shops, well, they would welcome writers with new, open, socially distanced arms far more than they ever might have done with us before, but not if your typing is going to shake the foundations of the entire building. I think this means that if you like a mechanical keyboard, you're still going to use a chiclet one, at least at times. And I don't know that we can justify, I mean, writers can't throw away money casually, we can't justify multiple keyboards, but that doesn't seem to stop me. I mean, yes, okay, as well as those two mechanical ones I've been reviewing, and I've been using the Magic Keyboard I originally got, as well as the review ones, I've also got older Mac keyboards, I've got other portable ones, and I have actually just given my favourite of those to my wife. Marriage is exchanging keyboards, clearly. I think I've sounded as if I prefer mechanicals, and they're more fun. I'm willing to spend money to try them. Mechanical keyboards are brilliant, but I will very easily, really easily, be at this Mac for 10, 12 hours a day, sometimes at least. And for that, consistent long work, the chiclet keyboard, it's practically flat against the desk. And actually, the fact that it isn't quite flat is precisely deliberate. It's the right angle for my keys. Yeah, I find it easier to type. The keys vanish. Yeah, I am writing, I am not typing. But I will give you this. Only mechanical keyboards have colour backlights. We're writers. We don't need backlighting on our keyboards, especially not if you're a touch typist, and I am. But if we don't need backlighting, it's still fantastic. I mean, I could watch that light for hours. So, does the sound difference between Scissor keyboards make your decision for you? Yeah, I kind of hope so, because after that, it gets so hard, doesn't it? And so very personal. I do distantly remember writers arguing over whether HB or 2B pencils were the best. That seems so quaintly easy now. Two choices. We writers type a lot, such a lot, so much that it is certainly worth spending time on finding the right keyboard for you, whether it's mechanical or chiclet. And I certainly think it's worth spending money. I mean, yes, I sometimes get keyboards to review for free, and that is very nice. It's very happy for me. But although I might try to block this a bit from my mind, I guarantee I've spent at least £400 on keyboards over the last 5-10 years. Good God. I was actually looking forward to discussing this. Anyway, okay. Thanks for putting that back in my head. That's it for this episode of 58 Keys. Thanks for watching and making me think about cost of keyboards and typing addictions. Yeah, take care of yourself, okay? And I'll see you soon.